Hi everyone out there. I hope you weren't waiting for a live today. I was meant to go on a couple of hours ago, but similar to, I think it was last week, perhaps 2 weeks ago, when I was in the studio or rather when I was in this room at home and was saying that it was too noisy inside. I thought it had quieted down, but today they decided to come directly in front of my office space, and they had the hoist sitting there for most of the morning and early afternoon, and were grinding the sides of the windowsills upstairs. So I didn't think you'd really want to be there. Plus the smell from the diesel was so bad that I was actually wearing my mask inside the office. So not really a very easy way to do a live. So here I am instead. I thought I'd sneak on anyway and kind of regroup. Hey Betty, how are you? Thank you all for jumping in and joining me, even though I'm a little later. Actually, if you're in the US, this may suit you a little better a couple of hours later. Today's one of those kind of manic days anyway as well, where the whole day got away from me. And a big part of it is that we're in the process. Laura, you loved the picture you posted this morning. Oh, good. Laura I've left her in the office space, and I've printed out a whole bunch of shipping labels for the club. Now, we don't have all of the colours yet of the club, so anyone who's in the Celtic Knits Club knows that we had a little bit of a delay because their twisting machine broke down, and so we were several weeks delayed. Now we're trying to play catch up, and I'm using some of the bits in and out and things. We've got Riverview Knitting from Chantal in Ontario, Canada. Hi, how are you doing? And I'm probably able to hit people a little later in the day doing one this hour of the evening. But it is very exciting to try and get some of the club items shipped out. You might realise Suds Johnson, who last year did a soap for the club, has got a little something very special in this week's one. But it's not soap, and it's something he developed just for us. And I'm going to keep my mouth zipped until you guys get it. But it smells really nice and it feels really nice. So yeah, it's kind of exciting. He's just a whiz with developing new products. And when we were trying to actually figure out what to put together and the different combination of things, he sent like about 6 different samples to me in different bags to try out, and they were all gorgeous. One was nicer than another, so it was really, really hard to make a decision. So hopefully you like the end choice we went with. What I also wanted to talk to you about today is, apart from my excitement of being able to ship stuff out and all the rest of it, is, you can see here, let me turn it around, last week, this is Farraige, which was the knit along from a few weeks ago, and this one is in Blasta Light, which is the same as the Blasta, which is a 2-ply yarn, but it's just a singles. So let me pull one of them up here. This is the Blasta Light, so you can see it's woolen spun again, and it is just 1-ply singles. So it does mean it's loosely twisted, very, very light, feels as light as air, but it's going to make it a lot more fragile, because woolen spun by its very nature is a little bit more fragile anyway. And then normally when you've got it 2 plies twisted together, it gives it more strength. So when it's 1-ply like this, it is beautiful to feel, it's lovely to knit with, but it's fragile, because any parts where it's a little thinner, if you're winding it and you pull too tightly and things like that, it can break. However, because it's woolen spun and it's not superwash, it's really easy to do a felted join with. You just split the two, wet your hand and roll it together. So it does join again very easily, but I know that can be a little disturbing and that's why. It's because of just the very nature of the yarn. Normally they don't do a single ply, but I kind of liked the effect of it, so hopefully it's works okay. You love the color green. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the pattern. I've actually got, one of the things I wanted to share with you was a new color in the Blasta Light that was sent in. This one is Óir, which Óir is the Irish for gold, which I just love. I just think this is just such a pretty color. And where are we here? You can see this is probably too bright a combination, but I was kind of playing around with them and this one, which is it's greens, but it's really more like a sea green. I think that and the Óir are lovely together. You probably can't see it, but there's teeny tiny flecks of gold even running through this here, and that's actually really common with Donegal yarns. The yarns that they make, they tend to, usually when they're blending the fleeces, they'll dye the fleece first, and then they pick several different colors, and then it all gets blended up together. So you get that really heathery look, particularly for like this not so much with the solid ones like this, but with the heathered colors. You can pick out like 5-6 different colors in here. If I turn around here, there's like little flecks of yellow going through it. So what it means is that when you combine the two together, you get this very rich combination, because there'll be small little bits of this color will be picked up here. I've got, there we go, a big bundle of stuff here. So that green, which is the emeralds, this is Leah, and that is Óir. Those three are all fairly solid colors, but the other two here, this is Farraige, which is the Irish for sea, and Brack. Here again, I don't know how well you can see in this light, but both of those are very heathery, and when you're looking at them, there's like 3, 4, 5 different colors. Name of the heather color, this one is Brack, and this one is Farraige. Now, I've got huge boxes of these, all arrived last week. Farraige, that's right. Yeah, it's the Irish for sea. As in, well, when you say Cush Farraige is by the sea. But they're all in stock, and I have got a special for you this week. Until Monday, there is an automatic 15%, actually a little bit more, because normally they're $11.95, but I've got it down to, I think it's $9.99 until Monday, and it's automatic. You can just actually see the price on, and the same with the Cush Farraige kits. Just because I had so much, and I wanted you guys to get a chance to try out the Óir. What I've actually got planned is reminds me a lot of Brooklyn Tweed Loft. It's a little bit lighter, but it's in the same kind of feel to it. So I might experiment and try out a pattern that I did in Loft, which was Carpino. I might need to adjust the gauge, but I'm thinking of redesigning it to work for the gauge of this, and probably to add some more sizes, because I think 53-inch bust was probably the largest size in it, so I wanted to kind of add a couple more. You've been doing yours in the grey and blue, and you can't wait to wear it. Oh, that's right, here. These are the two. So the grey, your Leah, and the Brack. I think they actually worked really nicely together. I mean, the one thing that I really love about this is it's warm, but it doesn't feel like you're wearing anything, because of the fact that woolen spun traps all of that air in because of the way it's actually spun. But it is a trade-off, because it's more fragile. So if you're aware of it going in, and you know you need to be careful, then it works. Is the Cush Farraige kit in the Blasta Light? It is, yes, that's right. So the Cush Farraige kit, the yarn kit, it comes with 2 skeins of yarn and bag, and you can also get it, if you haven't got the pattern already, you can then also, you've got the option on the page of bundling it with the pattern, and it gives a kind of even, it multiplies the discount. I think it's about a 5% discount once you put the two together if you don't have the pattern already. So it's actually a very reasonably priced shawl for the yarn. And it is, like, even though it's 60% Irish yarn, which normally wouldn't be associated with particularly soft, I've got it next to my skin here, and I actually find it pretty comfortable. And my neck particularly tends to be very sensitive. So as Irish yarn goes, it's fairly comfortable. Obviously, if you're very sensitive, it's still not going to be the same as a merino, but it's pretty soft for an Irish yarn. So yeah, the club and the new Blasta Light and Blasta kits are the two big things that I've got really going on at the moment. So if anyone got any questions, you can just kind of throw them up there. You've been resisting, you can't any longer. Well, now you've got an extra discount, so you know there's no reason not to. And you've got the option of more colours, so it's kind of fun. If you think you want to try, like, I mean, because there's quite a bit of yardage, it's like 470 yards, in each skein. So like 2-3 skeins is actually going to make a garment for you comfortably. So it would be a very good kind of transitional one because it's so super lightweight. And in fact, if any of you had been working through the Stash Dive knit along, I actually think that style, kind of boxy, floaty, oversized, would be good because it is so light and it's very happy to be blocked and drapey, but because it's not superwash, it's not going to get dragged out of shape and you're not going to get the neck stretched out. So it would be gorgeous in a really big oversized sweater. I'm actually feeling a huge amount of frustration at the moment because there's so many things I want to knit. It must be because it's spring, but like there's all of these patterns I want to reknit in new yarns. There's a Blasta sweater that I'm knitting on for the autumn. Next week I'll bring that on. I've made enough progress now that you can see what it looks like. But I'm doing it in Farraige and Óir, which is a marled colour, and it just looks so pretty. I've taken some of the stitch patterns that was from the Durka hat which is the first hat from the Celtic Knits Club, and I'm putting an entire sweater version of the hat stitches together. But it's going to be it's really fun. So I'm enjoying knitting that. Yeah, I've got at least 2 ones that I want to reknit. I want to do a sweater in this and I need to get started on the autumn knit along. So it's like, if I could somehow magically double my hands and just keep knitting all the way through the day, that would be awesome, because then, I get so much done. So if you can magically figure out how I can become 2 people and knit when I'm meant to be in work instead, that would be great, because I'm very excited about knitting all of the things. All right, bye everyone. I'll talk to you next week. Oh, you've got a very long list you want to knit and I'm not helping. I suppose that's part of the excitement, right? Is that there's always something new on the horizon. It's often the only reason I end up finishing stuff is I'm so excited to knit the next thing that I have to get whatever's on my needles out. Hey Nuria, how are you? So it's I think it has to be the springtime. It's just too exciting and fun to be knitting. So go grab yourself some fun yarn and get swatching and have fun with knitting, because sometimes you forget. Even I forget as a designer how enjoyable the whole thing is. And just the sheer pleasure of sitting down and knitting and creating stuff with your hands is really special. So enjoy. Bye everyone.